Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free impartial advice on all your debt.
All right, mate, let me know.
Yeah, we're on. This is UMAR AHMED for IFL TV in association with MTK Global by Zoom. I'm joined by NISSE SAUERLAND. NISSE, it's been a while since I spoke to you. I think this was early lockdown I spoke to you. Look, well, we're back in another lockdown, it seems like, NISSE.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Yeah, I've got kind of some strong feelings on these. On the second lockdown, the first one was fine, but the second one, I just, I think we just need to be responsible and crack on.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Maybe that's a conversation for another day, anyways.
No, I could go on the whole time about that. But yeah, let's stick to boxing. I think I'm more qualified for boxing than for the whole COVID political debate that we're having at the moment.
Well, let's stick to that. Yeah, El Animal, Filip Hrgovic, heavyweight beast, is out in Denmark. Yeah, just tell me about that fight, and good to see Filip back in the ring.
I'm honest, at the moment, I'm just happy to get in the fight. It's just very, very, very tough to maneuver dates. With quarantines, we've already ran into a few problems. We had flights booked via Amsterdam, which would mean that when we return, we'd have to quarantine for 2 weeks. And then you're constantly putting out fires to make shows happen. But we're just happy that Filip can fight. And he's going to fight now and then end October, early November again, and then hopefully once more before the end of the year. Keep him busy, and keep it moving in the right direction. It's tough at the moment. You don't know what. So I'm just glad that, fingers crossed, touch wood, he fights on Saturday.
NISSE, you've frozen there a bit. I can hear you, but your picture's frozen.
Sorry, mate. It's my terrible internet. I think
Oh, there you are.
Let me try again. Yeah, is that all right?
Yeah, all good. Eddie said something interesting a couple of weeks ago about potentially, this whole thing going on between Frank and Eddie at the moment. Eddie said, "Why don't we do a Hrgovic-Dubois?" He said, "If you want to do matchroom Greensbury."
We'd definitely look at that fight. But I've said it before. I think Daniel Dubois is a work in progress. He's improving all the time. I think if you compare him to a couple of years ago, he's a total different animal. I think the Joe Joyce fight, it's going to be, we're going to see what he's all about. And I think it's more of a 50-50 fight than anyone makes out. I look at the odds and it's 4-1, I think, for Joyce, which is a good bet. I'm not saying he's going to win, but definitely a 50-50 fight, in my opinion. I think Dubois, he obviously beat Gorman in great fashion. I do understand that Gorman had a few issues going into that fight, but it's going to be very interesting to see what he's got. And I think Joyce will be a very, very, very tough fight. And look. Promoters need to talk. We need to build fights. Dubois Hrgovic, yeah, definitely happen with titles on the line.
I think that is the one for the future. Obviously, Dubois got to come through Joyce, and as you say, 50-50. I couldn't agree more with you. But I think just because Dubois is young and had a really impressive start to his career, and Filip is obviously touted as the man that's going to be there standing one day right at the top of the tree. So when you're thinking about the next crop, I think Dubois Hrgovic one day is a mega fight. Should be anyway.
Definitely. A year down the line, both of them winning. Listen, if Dubois loses to Joyce, it's not like he's lost to was it Ricardo Schneiders or something, Joshua lost, comes back, beats the guy. The boxing's made on stories. The heavyweight with division boring, literally so painstakingly boring when the Klitschko's ruled it. And and Tyson Fury came along and did us all a massive favor. Look how exciting it is now. And I always said that, like, look outside of the Klitschko's, the crop coming through was a lot more exciting than the two brothers. I'm not taking credit away from them. Well, I kind of am, but it's a lot more exciting. There's a lot more money on the line now for heavyweights, and it's a lot more. It's a larger, deeper crop of fighters, and more of an even playing field, and exciting fights, not just jab, grab. That things are opened up. Look at Dillian White against Derek Chisora, two of the best heavyweight fights that I can remember in a long time. And to think that these fights weren't getting the attention a few years ago, or Chisora against Usyk, another one that's just been announced. That's a great fight. I guess that I haven't looked at the odds on this one, but I guess that Usyk will be the heavy favourite. But listen, Derek will just have to stand him up, chomp him down, hope for a small ring, push for a small ring, and just not give him any room to breathe. Just be on him the whole time. I find that fight a lot more even than I think a lot of people are making out.
Okay, interesting.
Sorry, I've just gone right off the topic there.
Oh,
I'm evaluating the heavyweights. I get excited when I talk about heavyweights at the moment.
Brilliant time for HRGOVIC to be in the division, though. So you're correct, yeah.
We are perfect timing, and we're a year, maybe less away from challenging for the top. And let's get this COVID bollocks out of the way, so we can, focus back on a sport we all love. And it's a credit to everyone, credit to Eddie, credit to Frank, credit to anyone who's putting on shows now, because it isn't easy. It really isn't. And credit to the fans for tuning in. I mean, sometimes these I've been watching the football, and it's a little bit odd watching with the added sound. Then you switch the sound off, and then you can hear everyone swearing. So you're just like, okay, which one's better? I know one seems like a Sunday league, the other one seems like a movie. Anyway, but I'm just excited to get on with the future now.
What do you think about Eddie and Frank potentially working together, going for a meal to discuss, some fights?
Listen, as I understand it, Eddie has never met Frank. I'm not sure he hasn't, no, which I find astounding. We live in London. It's a big place, but a small place at the same time. And of course, the boxing industry is as well. But listen, it has to be mega fights where I guess BT and Sky can maybe work together like HBO and Showtime did back in the day. I think it's good to sit down and talk with your rivals. We've always had a good relationship with Eddie and also Frank. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't know how much will come of it. Look, you've got two different broadcasters. What are you going to do? Put them on both channels? I don't think so. Look at the fights that they have over the Premier League and whatever else. I mean, look, I would say that maybe to bury the hatchet to a certain extent would be good, but everyone likes a bit of rivalry.
Well, brilliant fight in Munich between Briedis and Dorticos. Absolutely fantastic. One of the best since we've had this lockdown situation, and also you've got a lot of your fighters on the undercard. 3, I believe, Nissa.
We got Arlish, Radovan, and Bun fighting there. Of course, it's I don't deal with the Super Series. It's the Kamosa, and of course my brother's the chief boxing officer there. But we were lucky enough to be able to position. Obviously, we have German fighters, so it made sense to put them on a German undercard. yeah, I mean, Sophie Arlish is, I don't know how much you know about her, but she's a very exciting prospect. She's only 18. She is, she's been beating up men in the gym, which is, from such a sweet young 18-year-old girl, and she can hold it with the best of them. And then, of course, Radovan and Bon, who are very highly ranked in a couple of the world federations. So, look, it's exciting times. Things are getting back on track with German boxing. We had there was a little bit of a generational, let's say, misfiring. And I think it's, we almost skipped a generation of boxers, for one reason or another. And I think it's back on track now. And we've got some really exciting talents coming through. And, we just need a couple of them to win a world title, and we'll be in a good place again.
Nissa, before I let you go, how's Abbas doing? You spoke to him recently?
Yeah, I mean, speaking about German boxing, I thought Abbas... I thought Abbas did, like I said, I don't know if you saw the fight.
Yes, I did.
Did you see the fight?
Yeah.
I had him winning by a round or two. But, look, it's a close fight. But the fact that the other point judge, he should never be allowed to judge another fight. The first 5 rounds he gave to Jack Kulkai. It's like he sat there, marked his card beforehand, said, all right, here's 5 rounds to Kulkai. I gave Kulkai maybe one of those rounds, if that. So I just thought that was, we've obviously complained. There's not much you can do now, but I think people know his name a lot more than if he just won maybe narrowly. People are like, oh, this decision was great, and people are up in arms about the fact that he might have been robbed. I think robbery is a strong word. He definitely lost. He definitely won. I'm sorry. But you see worse robberies. But what got to me was the fact that five rounds to Kulkai. Maybe 4-1, 5 or 5-0 for Abbas, I believe. And I think that's why people were so up in arms. I think, listen, he's got a lot more to give. It was his 10th fight, and he's world class. I think he's a couple of fights. I mean, the same as what Adam Booth has said. Maybe it's a bit of a blessing in disguise, as take him back, get him a couple more fights before he challenges for a world title, get that experience, get that championship experience. And take another run at it. I think a rematch against Kulkai would be brilliant, and we'd take that with both hands very quickly, as long as the point judges were correct.
All right, Nissa, best of luck to your fighters in Denmark and in Germany this weekend. I'm sure we'll catch up soon, all right? Thanks for your time.
Thanks, buddy. Nice one, Umar. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Nissa. Bye.
Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free impartial advice on all your debt.